Local Justice, presented by Elrod Law Firm, serving our community since 1980. Here's your host, Attorney Ben Leader.
Welcome to Local Justice, where we shine a spotlight on those who guide, advise, serve, and protect our local community. And each week we dive into the issues that matter most here in York County. I'm especially excited about today's guest that we have with us, and not because of just his new role as the sheriff of York County, but because I've had the privilege of knowing him for more than a decade. And our relationship actually began about 10 years ago when I helped him after he was injured in the line of duty. And the moment stuck with me at that time as it was a good reminder of just how very real the risk that our law enforcement officers face every single day. And he's a Marine Corps veteran. He's a 28-year veteran with the Rock Hill City Police Department, and he's the newly elected sheriff here in York County. So please join me and welcome Sheriff Tony Breeden to Local Justice.
Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Sheriff. Really appreciate your time and spending some time to chat with our viewers about a little about you and a little bit about the York County Sheriff Office that they may not know about. Just to get us started, I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey, because I know your journey isn't necessarily traditional of that of a sheriff, and I'd love to hear about kind of what led you to this point in your career and how we got here.
So in early part of 2022, I just knew that, I think you kind of get that feeling where your time might be up at Rock Hill, and then part of it was, working. I still loved what I was doing. Working night shifts was hard, leaving Brooke, especially after Colby. So it was just one of those to where, and at the time, you don't realize why, but it was almost just something that said, go ahead and leave. So I gave a month, and June of 2022, I decided I was going to retire and didn't have a job, had nothing to do. I did go get my CDL. I thought I would drive. And so I talked to some people that I've known for a long time and said, you need to take 3 months to just unwind and realize that to get out of your system. So I said I was going to take 3 months, and I was just really just golfing and riding my motorcycle every day. And about middle of August, Brooke was like, you need to find something to do. And I was like, all right. So still had no clue. And a friend of mine that I had known forever, Gary Johnson from Gastonia, was the security director at INSP, Inspiration Ministries in Indian Land. And we went to lunch, and 3 months to the day I left, September 1st, they called and offered me a job. So I worked there for 2 years, and then, last April, I was actually on my way to Fort Moore, Georgia now, for a international sniper competition down there to work with a friend of mine that owns a rifle company. And I just started getting calls that said, hey, you should do this. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. So then on Thursday morning, I got a call, and somebody said, hey, do you want to do this? They opened it, extended it. And I was supposed to be there till Sunday. And I was like, man, I can't make this kind of decision in Georgia. I'll come home and everything I own will be in the yard. So I was like, I'm going to go home. And we talked about it, and we were like, let's do it. And, looking back, I know that that's the reason I up and left when I did, because this opportunity was going to present itself. Then we got into it, and it was a wild ride. It really was. But I mean, we had a faith in the peace and the process and the results, and we just knew that whatever would be God's plan would happen, and that's where we are.
That's great. Just out of curiosity, when the news broke about the position possibly being open, before somebody had contacted you, was there any sort of thought in the back of your head as a possibility?
If you've been around forever, you always think about it, but it's a little bit more distance if you're not at the sheriff's office. And when it first happened, I was like, yeah, but then you're like, nah, it's just. Because you don't know anything about it. If you've never, ever been into the political realm or running for an office, you don't know what it entails. But we had a lot of support. We had a lot of financial support. We had a lot of technical support. Everything just fell into into place. And, Mr. Norman was very supportive, and that was and in the entire Norman family, the Burns family, there were so many people that were just instrumental to helping us. And it just, it's just crazy how fast something like that went. But it's really hard to describe, because there's times that it still hits you and you're like, I can't believe this.
Yeah. And I think we actually ran into each other when you were working there at the ministries group during that 2-year gap. Just curious, what did you miss most about, the law enforcement badge while you were in that capacity?
Well, especially at Rock Hill, especially when Captain Charles Cabinets left, it was almost like I was the guy everybody called. And you just really miss the helping part. And it's not being corny, it's not cliche, but that's what you really miss. And actually, the November of and I guess that would be 23, I had already decided I was going back in. I had talked to Lancaster, I talked to the Highway Patrol, and was trying to figure out which one I was going to do, because I was going back in because I missed it. And, some people might go their whole life and not know what they're supposed to do, but I just feel that, this is why I was put here. And so I just missed it. And something just kept saying, just hold off. And I was like, I got to hurry up. It's not like I'm 25. And I just think everything was meant, because this happened the way it did. So,
and just having known you for so long, I've known you just how deep the camaraderie and the kind of the brotherhood is, at the departments. And
it is.
I know you probably missed that too.
I did. I really missed that part of it. And it's just one of the things that we've talked about is it's a difference in being at a municipality and a sheriff's office. As much as I love Rock Hill, and I bled Rock Hill PD blue, but you feel like you work at a municipality, you feel like you belong to a sheriff's office. And it is, when they say it's a family atmosphere, it really is. And it's just it's a very welcoming and just close-knit group. And it's something that's been my favorite part about it, is just how receptive everybody is, and just how amazing it is to be a member of the sheriff's office. So that's the best part.
It's great. We're going to talk a lot more about some of the things you do there and some of the challenges in the community now, but we'll be right back after a short break from some of our sponsors.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not gonna have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Being there for someone in their time of need is what Green Funeral Home has done compassionately for 4 generations. It's a privilege we take very seriously.
We believe each life should be honored and remembered by family and friends. Whether you choose traditional burial in our chapel or another venue, or cremation provided by our on-site crematory, we will help guide you through each step to ensure your needs are met.
We are also available to discuss pre-planning. Peace of mind that you have helped your loved one by making those difficult decisions.
When the need arises, our family is here for your family.
At Founders, we know your finances matter. That's why we have loans for any reason.
Can Founders help us with our mortgage?
Of course.
Can Founders get me an
auto loan? Not a problem.
Nice.
Can we do something about this?
Home improvements? Absolutely.
How How about just getting ahead?
Pay down some bills? We can do that. When you need a loan, our great low rates give you the opportunity to invest in the most important thing, you. So relax. At Founders, we're with you every step of the way.
Live Strong at the YMCA is a lifesaver for so many people.
I love Live Strong because you meet so many people, you learn how strong you can be physically and mentally.
The camaraderie and the closeness that you feel and come together as a group is just amazing.
We meet them where they are and we work with them to help them get stronger.
At the YMCA of Upper Palmetto, we are proud to offer our community the support of the Live Strong program to all cancer survivors. For more information, visit your local branch.
Welcome back to Local Justice. We have Sheriff Tony Breeden here. I'm Ben Leader, your host, and we're glad to be letting everybody get to know Sheriff Breeden a little bit better and talking a little bit more about justice in the community. Want to talk a little bit about a crisis and an epidemic that's been impacting the community as a whole for a number of years now, and that's the fentanyl crisis. I know that most people in York County have probably been impacted in some way, shape, or form by the fentanyl crisis, and really just wanted to hear a little more from you about what you're seeing in terms of boots on the ground. You know, are we making any progress with the problem, and kind of what we're seeing out in the community?
Yes, we are. You know, the county is fortunate to have the York County Multi-Jurisdictional Drug Enforcement Unit, the DEU. We have 3 offices, a north, east, and a west office, and you know, they have been incredibly proactive for years. As a matter of fact, they probably made a couple of the largest pill cases in conjunction with the federal agencies that they've made. And, you know, so they're in each one leads to the next. And the real problem that we're seeing now, and we were in Columbia a couple weeks ago to speak on a bill that is a homicide by fentanyl bill to hopefully get people held accountable that sell it. The only problem is there's other things that are being used and mixed in now that are causing just as many overdoses. And, you know, if it wasn't for Narcan, we'd probably, I mean, you couldn't even put the number of fatalities you have on it. So, and, you know, and the thing that people lose sight of, it's not just, these are not just your typical, you know, drug addicts and people that are, you know, we've had overdoses where somebody thought they were buying a hydrocodone and ended up having fentanyl, and it was an overdose with a fatality. So, you know, the big thing is just to get everybody that, and I know sometimes it's very difficult, you know, you don't have the prescription and this, but, you know, you have to avoid just buying an unknown pill from somebody that you have no idea what's in it. And that's the true risk, is those are the ones that are put in the greatest, you know, I would say liability or risk, because they're probably not going to have the Narcan. They just think they're getting a pain pill, or they're getting whatever they think it is. So that's why we're really targeting the pill operations and trying to go after them, because it's not, you know, it's not somebody just buying a bag of fentanyl. It's right. Buying the pills that they think are some type of opioid, and it's mixed with it, and then they have the reaction. So,
and it sounds like we're finally making some progress on the fentanyl side, but there's some new substances that have also come into the picture now.
There's some new tranquilizers or whatever they're trying to find that has that, you know, because we knew when the border was tightened up, it would make it harder to get here. But, you know, some of that takes a long time to trickle all the way down to what was already here and being produced. So, but, you know, the drug unit is, like I said, extremely active and working out of all 3 offices very diligently together to make that a priority. And it has been. And that's why we want to continue to add deputies, add people to it, add a MARC unit component to it to help with the traffic stops, and to hopefully build that database up of what they can use to fight it. So that's what our number one goal will be.
That's great. And, you know, we talked a little bit about your history with the Rock Hill City Police and shifting to the York County Sheriff's Office. You know, I don't know that the general public just knows how broad the duties of a sheriff's office is, and it's not just law enforcement. I mean, y'all are managing the jail as well, I believe, right. And yes, 500 plus beds. And
yes, sir.
I think that's even used for U.S. Marshals and ICE as well.
Yes.
How has kind of taken on these new roles? I'm sure you've had to rely on a lot of, you know, good leadership in place, right. And You can't do it all, you know.
Yeah, it's and you know, and one of the things that I've talked about is Major Fred Moore. He's the chief deputy, undersheriff, chief deputy. He's been there for 22 years, and Chief Hicks runs the jail. But you know, we kept the entire command staff intact, and you know, we were the only sheriff's office in the state to do that. And especially since we've gotten to know the Major more and what he's done and his leadership during the last few years, you really can't underscore how important he is. And the fact that he stayed on and is working with us is really a testament to him and how fortunate we are. And you know, and we've talked about it up there. It's just, you know, one person is just the sheriff. It's almost 500 employees up there that do everything that it takes to protect the county. And that's the one thing that we said from day one, and actually we have command staff that'll say it at meetings, and we have primarily broken it down to one thing, that we have one responsibility, that's to protect the county. That's it. We're here to protect the county. And everything else we do is ancillary and on top of that, but that is our primary responsibility. And now people are starting to repeat it and know it. And that's just what we're trying to work towards. Just trying to get more professionalism every day, more accountability every day. But there's so many good people up there that have done it for years and continue to do it. So it's has nothing to do with me. It's just so many people up there that have worked hard forever that, you know, they just unfortunately don't get to do these things, but they're the ones that are really doing the lion's share of the work.
Right.
So,
right. I know something we've talked about in the past is, you know, culture is important to you. And can you tell us a little bit about just the emphasis on culture that you have there, and wanting, you know, to have a good culture that attracts good applicants? Because I imagine it's harder than ever for law enforcement to attract, you know, the caliber of folks you're looking for.
It is. And, you know, and we've told everybody in our meetings and everything else, it's going to be harder to be a York County Sheriff's Deputy than ever has been, because of those expectations of professionalism, expectations of doing it right every single day. But I also believe that that's what everybody wants to be part of. You know, we've made it clear that we want to be the benchmark and the gold standard for sheriff's offices, not only in South Carolina, but regionally and nationally. And everybody wants the same thing. So, you know, it is when you have multiple agencies fighting out of the same pool. But we ultimately believe that we're going to have a better product than anybody else, especially close to us, because I believe that people want to be part of something that is special and be part of something that stands out because of that accountability. And we want everything to be fair and equitable. You know, most people just want to earn what you get and get what you earn. And that's what we're going to. And I think that the great majority of people want those things. So if you make it attainable and people see it, then people want to be part of it. And so, you know, we know that in the beginning you're catching up. But one good thing about the sheriff's office, there's not a lot of turnover. Most of the people that leave there retire. And we've had a decent amount retire, but there was a lot of people that were already at that time. Most of them said it wasn't because of me. I took their word for it. But you know, we have maintained an incredibly high percentage of the staff, and now we're starting to get really good numbers at our recruiting events, at our testing dates, and we're starting to bring in some very qualified people. But, you know, for example, we had a testing date where I think 5 people showed up, only 1 made it out of the original questionnaire. Mm-hmm. We did another one with 6 and only 3 made it. We had one last week with 10 and only 4 made it.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter how many we need. We're not going to take anybody that doesn't make us better by putting the uniform on. So we're not going to lower our standards no matter how many people we need.
That's great. We will return to local justice in just a moment. Thanks again, Sheriff Breeden, for your time.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
At Palmetto Pride, we know we have a choice. The choice for a cleaner South Carolina. And it's an easy one at that. Don't litter. No grand gestures or heroic efforts here, but the outcome still has monumental impacts. When it comes to our state, every choice counts and every action matters. From the great outdoors to parks next door, from Main Street to your street. All it takes is a little bit of pride to keep South Carolina beautiful.
When a catastrophe hits, it can be a very stressful time for you. When you have trees on your house, when you have trees on your cars, and you don't know what to do, you call us.
We're not a 1-800 number, we're an 803 number. We've been in business for over 60 years because we take care of our clients. That means taking care of them during claim situations.
We're not 9 to 5, we're 24/7. We're gonna be there when you need us most. Gill Insurance, your local auto owner's agent. Understanding business is how we do business.
When it comes to prescription medications and health needs, Rock Hill residents have been turning to Good Pharmacy for over 50 years.
I've been coming to Good Pharmacy since we came to Rock Hill in 1984, and I would not change pharmacists for anything.
With their knowledgeable staff, you can always trust that your prescription will be filled with complete confidence and care for your health. Good Pharmacy, conveniently located at the corner of Ebenezer Road and Camden Avenue.
At Founders, we know your finances matter. That's why we have loans for any reason.
Can Founders help us with our mortgage?
Of course.
Can Founders get me an
auto loan? Not a problem.
Nice.
Can we do something about this?
Home improvements? Absolutely.
How about just getting ahead?
Pay down some bills? We can do that. When you need a loan, our great low rates give you the opportunity to invest in the most important thing, you. So relax. At Founders, we're with you every step of the way.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm Ben Leader, and we have Sheriff Tony Breeden with us. Thanks again for being here, Sheriff. I know that you, from our interactions, you've personally experienced, the dangers of law enforcement firsthand. I think it was an injury to your eye, a decade or so ago. Can you tell us a little bit about, in today's climate, how do y'all, protect the officers and provide, the resources they need on the front lines?
Yeah, I think that, it's also something you can't think about that. You can never, that can't be what you think about when you're working. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you that in my opinion, that there were a lot of people that were opponents to body cam. I was one of the biggest proponents to it when they were coming out. I was like, let's get them here quick. And I think that is, one of the most important tools that we've gotten, because it's the clear representation. And there's so many people that were like, this happened, and you show on the body cam and they're like, all right, sorry. Because, and unfortunately, people sometimes have in their mind how a interaction goes based on what they've seen on TV, based on what they've heard. And a lot of people, I don't think, are being malicious. They're just, they're amped up, they're nervous, or whatever the case is. And sometimes they correlate to somebody saying something that is what they believed happened. And that body cam, in a lot of cases, has been able to say, look, this is what happened. And they're like, I didn't even realize that. Yeah. And then plus, I think that for me, the body cam was, it helped me as well, because I know that I'm being recorded. Now, a couple of us, Steve Thompson, Peak, and we got cameras back in like 96 when nobody else had cameras. We were in the traffic unit. So I've had them almost in my entire career, and I've never regretted having a camera. Never. Yeah. And so I think it's a tool that helps with that. But more importantly, we give somebody an opportunity to come view that. If they believe something happened so contrary, the most important thing is to come in and say, look, take a look at the body cam. That's right. And but there's also times that you have to say, we didn't get it right. Right. And when that happens, you have to own it, you acknowledge it. I've had officers that I would watch it and say, how are you that rude? And then they watch it and they're like, I had no idea. And then we apologize. And the people sometimes are taken a little bit aback by it, because you're like, I just want to let you know and they were, what'd you say? And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, we didn't get it right. Yeah. And it means a lot too, because, we are human. We want to get it right. We don't have people out there just maliciously trampling on people. We're doing the best we can in every single encounter that we can with what we have. And I don't know anybody that doesn't want to do it honorably and do it the best they can.
Right. And those cameras, they provide transparency, they provide accountability. I mean, I think if anybody had a camera on all day, every day, at their jobs, they wouldn't be perfect either. So
it's also somewhat detracted from us just being believed, because a lot of times if somebody says, if you don't have a body cam, you're lying, which isn't the case either.
Right.
So, but sometimes you have to defend your people, knowing that they're right, and stand up for them, and no matter what. And that's what you have to do if they're right. So, but the community just wants to be protected, treated fairly, and to know that they're going to get the best service that we can provide. And I think that's what every agency aspires to do. And so that's just one of the tools. But we just try and listen to people and take what they say, and then try and do the best we can to make sure that accountability matches up with what we're doing.
Sure. Couple of lightning round questions for you.
Okay.
What's something people would be surprised to know about you?
We can't do that in a lightning round, but I don't know. I'm pretty, what you see is what you get. I'm not too layered. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just want to ride my motorcycle every now and then. I love what I'm doing, and I don't really know any big surprises.
Favorite lunch spot?
We do love Shawkers. We try and go to as many places as we can, but we prefer local owned places versus chain.
Sure.
And so, lunch spot, we like, anything with chicken salad, we do like that. But, I'm not one of those people that is at the same place every single time eating.
Well, it's good to support local across the board. And Sheriff Breeden, thank you again for your time today, your honesty, your transparency, and your continued service to this community. We're grateful to have leaders like you in positions like you're in, and we appreciate your time today and look forward to continuing the conversation and hopefully, being a resource for you and your team as well.
Anything we need, anything y'all need, let us know.
We appreciate it. Thank y'all again for tuning in to Local Justice, and we'll see you next time. All right.
All right. That's a wrap. As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Kidney disease is becoming more and more prevalent, especially with diabetes and hypertension. My training with kidney disease helps me to talk to patients and guide them through the steps that they can take, the changes that they can make into their lifestyles. And we have a dedicated team of providers, including dietitians and pharmacists that we work with to educate patients towards achieving that.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
From my first watch I purchased as a teenager, which still runs today, to the diamond ring I surprised my wife with, which she still talks about today. A gift from Norman Hagee is as good as it gets. Whether it's elegant timepieces by Bulova, Caravel, and Bel Air, or ornamental ironwork-inspired Southern Gates collection, or dazzling fine jewelry. A gift from Hagee is backed by over 60 years of family-owned and operated experience. Norman Hagee Jewelers, for gifts as good as it gets.